morning, Old Town kids. How's it going? Hey, what's the best news you've ever gotten? I was thinking about this myself today, and I thought, well, there was the time that I won movie tickets on the radio, and I found out about that, and that was really good news. And I was like, it's probably not the best news I've ever gotten. And so I thought, well, there was the time I found out that I'd gotten accepted into college, and I was so excited, and that was a really big deal, and that's another really good piece of news. Or there was the time the doctor told me that I was having twins. That was pretty cool. What about you? What's the best news you've ever gotten? Now, I don't know about you, but as I was thinking about this, I thought to myself, actually, maybe sometimes the best news is the news that comes when we really need it. Have you ever been having like a hard day or a hard week, or you've just been going through a rough time, and then you get some good news? Maybe it's news that you're going to get to see somebody that you love. Maybe it's news that you get to stay up a little later. Sometimes that kind of news can be really good because you're getting it when you really need some good news, right? So today, we're going to continue talking about very important people in the story of Jesus' birth, okay? And so 2 weeks ago, we talked about those people who lived a long, long, long time ago, the prophets, who, remember, they were kind of like a roadmap telling everyone that Jesus was going to come. Not yet, but he would come. And then last week, we talked about Mary and Joseph and how they are Jesus' earthly parents, and they were going on a road trip to Bethlehem, and Mary was very pregnant. And so this week, we're going to talk about another very important group of people in the story of Jesus' birth. And I don't know if you know, but it's the third Sunday of Advent. And on the third Sunday of Advent, we often talk about joy. Joy! Good news brings great joy. And so in today's story, we learn about the shepherds. Now, I didn't bring my whole nativity set here today, but I do have a shepherd. And in the Christmas story, the shepherds receive some very, very, very good news from an angel. So before we get further into that, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been camping? And do you like camping? Now, there's a lot to love about camping, right? You get to hang out in nature, you leave all your stuff at home, you sleep in the great outdoors. There's also a lot that some people don't like about camping. Spending time in nature, leaving all your stuff at home, sleeping in the great outdoors. That's interesting, isn't it? Well, the shepherds are camping when this story begins. The shepherds sleep outside with the sheep. Why do they do that? Well, because the shepherd's job is to take care of the sheep. And so the sheep sleep outside every night, right? They're sheep. And the shepherds stay with them to protect the sheep, to make sure that the sheep don't get attacked by bigger animals, to make sure that nobody tries to take the sheep. They're protecting the sheep. But that means that they're camping every night, right? And so camping is cool, but think about it. They're not at home, so some nights it might rain, right? Some nights it might be really cold. They might not get to take baths very often, so they might be kind of smelly. And it's not just, one shepherd who's smelly. So they're not just smelling like their own smelliness, but it's a bunch of guys who haven't taken a bath, and so they have to smell each other. So there are some things about being a shepherd that might be sort of like tiring, right? Like you're sleeping on the ground. Maybe they miss home. Maybe they're cold and they just, maybe it hasn't been the best day. And so imagine when these shepherds get a visit from an angel who says, I'm bringing you good news of great joy. Today, in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you. The Savior, remember that Savior that the prophets were telling us about in their roadmap for years and years and years and years? That Savior has been born. And they go on and they say, here's a sign. Here's a sign so that you can know it's true. You will find the baby wrapped in cloths and lying in a manger. So the angels tell them this good news, and they tell the shepherds how to find this baby and how to recognize this baby who the prophets were talking about, who Mary and Joseph were road tripping to Bethlehem where they were going to have Jesus, and now the shepherds are hearing the good news. And how do you think the shepherds felt? Well, maybe at first when the sky lights up and there's this angel, maybe they're a little scared. Actually, in the story, it says they were terrified, because that doesn't happen every day. But then when the angel shares this news, do you know how the shepherds feel? They're joyful. They are so excited. This is wonderful news. This is the best news they have ever heard. Pretty cool, right? And so the story goes on that the shepherds hurried. They hurried off, and they found Mary and Joseph and the baby, who was lying in a manger. And it was just like the angel had told them. Wow. And so today, the third Sunday of Advent, we are thinking about and talking about Advent joy, the joy of this special season. But you know what? That joy that the shepherds felt, that's our joy too. That joy didn't stop that night long ago when Jesus was born, because when Jesus was born, he brought joy to all of us. He brought it that day, and the next day, and the next day, all the way until now. Today, we have the joy of Jesus because God sent Jesus for all of us. That's it from me for today. I hope you're still enjoying your Advent calendars at home, and stay tuned because we've got some good stuff coming up next. I'll see you next time. Bye.